I feel that good fantasy will always be in demand. I think children especially need literature that helps them escape from the real world, which is very scary to them right now. Read, read, read. Just don't read one type of book. Read different books by various authors so that you develop different styles. It's hard for children's authors to be accepted when they try to write adult books. J.K. Rowling is the exception because people are so eager to read anything by her, but it took Judy Blume 3 or 4 tries before she had a success. I do like a lot of things that a lot of adults would scoff at. SpongeBob SquarePants, Looney Tunes. I feel happy to terrify kids. When I write for kids, I have to make sure they know what can't happen. They have to know it's a fantasy. But when I write for adults, they have to think it's real. Every detail has to be real or they won't buy it. I've never dreamed of a story idea. I have such boring dreams. I'm obsessed with radio. It's a good start to Sunday morning. A real New Yorker likes the sound of a garbage truck in the morning. Normally, I spend a week on the outline and take 2 weeks to write the book. After spending 22 years in Ohio, I love everything about New York. I've never turned into a bee, I've never been chased by a mummy or met a ghost, but many of the ideas in my books are suggested by real life. I've made myself laugh from some ideas, but I've never scared myself. If you do enough planning before you start to write, there's no way you can have writer's block. I do a complete chapter-by-chapter outline. I always just wanted to be funny. I never really planned to be scary. I haven't written a young adult book in years. I'm also doing 6 Goosebumps books a year now. I started writing when I was 9 years old. I was like this weird kid who would just stay in my room, typing little funny magazines and drawing comic strips. I should be concentrating on writing pages. I'm a total Disney freak. I want to live in Disney World. At least I can write. I set a goal for myself every day when I write 10 pages a day, and it's much harder because I'm too dumb to turn off my Twitter and everything, so it's always on and it's a real distraction. It's a major distraction. I drive a lot in the summertime, but after that, I don't drive if there's snow predicted for anywhere in 500 miles. I really wanted to be a cartoonist, and I was in 4th or 5th grade, and I would bring my drawings in, and I'd look around, and everyone could draw better than me. Everyone. My drawings were just awful, so that's why I had to write. I used to get a haircut every Saturday, so I would never miss any of the comic books. I had practically no hair when I was a kid. Kids think you just sit down and start writing. I always tell them you never do that. I love theme parks, but I'm a real chicken on rides. I'd rather invent scary rides for my books than go on them for real. Most fears are basic: fear of the dark, fear of going down in the basement, fear of weird sounds, fear that somebody is waiting for you in your closet. Those kinds of things stay with you no matter what age. Making my class laugh and getting in trouble. I was the class clown. I have a cheat sheet for each one of my characters about their personality, the way they look, etc. So there is no possible way that I could have writer's block. I guess I'm way too kind and generous, and a saint if you can believe that. Well, when I was 13, for my bar mitzvah, I received my first typewriter, and that was special. When I was a kid, there were these great comic books called Tales from the Crypt and The Vault of Horror. They were gruesome. I discovered them in the barber shop and thought they were fabulous. When I write, I try to think back to what I was afraid of or what was scary to me, and try to put those feelings into books. If you want to be a writer, don't worry so much about writing. Read as much as you can. Read as many different writers as you can. Soak up the styles. Everything that has happened to me has been amazing and surprising. I got the chance to do things that I dreamed of when I was a kid. I got to travel around the world. I had my own Goosebumps attraction at Disney World. I'd been on TV and had 3 TV series. Twitter is fun because it lets me stay in touch with all my original readers who grew up with my books. I love hearing from readers instantly on Twitter. I've lived in New York for 40 years. I came right after college. People always ask, how do you write so many books? And I say, I work a lot. I work 6 or 7 days a week. I have a great office. It's my job, too, to keep up with pop culture and what the kids are into, 'cause you don't want to sound like an old man trying to write for kids. I spend a lot of my time spying on them. So many people in their 20s and 30s, on Twitter, say, please write something for us, so I have to listen to them. They're my audience. I read everywhere. I read every day. I read on the couch with my dog in the afternoon and at night. I try to read at least 2 to 3 hours a day. I read only fiction. Believe it or not, my introduction to scary literature was Pinocchio. My mother read it to me every day before nap time when I was 3 or 4. The original Pinocchio is terrifying.